The following podcast contains spoilers for Kung Fu Hustle. You have been warned.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Glenjamin Budden, along with your host, Miguel Megosta
That's me.
Amario.
How's it going?
It's going, man. I got some surprises for you, dude.
Uh-oh.
I can't wait to hit you with it.
Oh, yeah?
Guess how many movies I saw this week?
I'm gonna
blow your socks off.
I'm going to say, not including Kung Fu Hustle, 3.
Fuck. 5.
Oh!
Not including Kung Fu Hustle.
Not including Kung Fu Hustle. That is
So a total of
2
6.
more than what I guessed.
Yeah.
Well,
And I didn't watch any weeb shit like you expected me to this week.
titles or it didn't happen.
All right, so first one we have is Kodachrome, which
Okay.
is it's Jason Sudeikis, Ed Harris, Elizabeth Olsen. It's a pretty good movie, pretty decent. I would recommend it if you're kind of like bored in quarantine. It's about
That's
about
likely to happen.
yeah, it's about a man who's dying, and he tries to kind of, in a way, reconnect with his son by trying to take him basically across the country to develop a roll of film that he had like fucking 30 years ago. It's pretty good. And Elizabeth Olsen's, she's too cute for anything. The next one was Death of Stalin, which has got quite a cast. Honestly,
yeah.
the main one is Steve Buscemi.
Did you watch that because of my recommendation?
I didn't. No, I did not.
Oh,
I watched it
recommended
because
it.
I was like, that kind of looks funny.
it's pretty great.
And yeah, it was hilarious, dude. Way funnier than I expected.
Oh, yeah.
Next one, Extraction, the new Chris Hemsworth movie on Netflix. Produced by, I think it's Joe Russo. It's one of the Russo brothers. And man, that was a good movie. Like, way better than I expected it to be. There's a oneer in the beginning of that it takes my breath away. And
Nice.
Chris Hemsworth, his physique is just blows my mind, you know? The next one was Philadelphia.
With Tom Hanks?
With Tom Hanks, which is why I made a joke earlier with you about it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good.
It's a pretty bad joke, too.
Yeah, it was a terrible joke.
For those who don't know, Tom Hanks' blood is being used to try to find a cure for coronavirus, as it is probably the case with all survivors. And Glenn, what did you say when I told you that?
I said, it's probably a bad idea because the last time Tom Hanks had his blood taken, he had AIDS in Philadelphia.
Boo.
Actually, I didn't even say anything about Philly. You were just like, you mean like in Philadelphia?
Yep.
So yeah, that's where I came up with that little joke. It was a pretty good movie, pretty decent.
Yeah, that's what I hear. I haven't seen it yet. I really want to, but just haven't. One of those I haven't got around to.
And then the last one was Six Underground. Ryan Reynolds, you know, the Michael Bay movie that's you know, Netflix made with him.
Yeah.
Batshit crazy every second of the film.
In a good way or a bad way?
It was a good movie for Michael Bay. Mm-hmm. But dude, I wish there was like a tracker somewhere of how many cuts were taken in the movie. People just walking across like a pavilion,
So
18 shots.
Did they have the same editor as Taken 3?
It was bad, dude. It
Yeah.
was. I mean, it was a pretty decent film all over. Like for Michael Bay, I'm like, all right, that was
Just
actually
the
pretty
editing
cool.
was shit?
Just the editing was just. There's so many cuts,
I
but like
don't-
that's what Michael Bay wants.
Yeah,
he
I
wants
don't
the
understand-
always intense film.
But the thing that I don't get about that is that when slower parts have less cuts, you only emphasize the action. So why would you take away from your action by making your non-action more chaotic? I don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense, which is a big reason why I don't like his movies. Not so much like the writing. I mean, his movies aren't that great, but he does have some good ones out there.
Yeah.
But like, if you want your action to be really pumped up, don't make your talking scenes like that. Like it's dumb. It's a dumb.
Yeah, I mean, it's full of action. You don't really connect with the characters like on any emotional level. They're all funny, like they all have funny moments and stuff like that. But you don't
Yeah.
he tries a little bit to like make you kind of care for them. But you don't really care for them. You just want to see all the crazy shit that's going to go down. How
yeah,
many
definitely.
cars and how many people have been destroyed in this movie is I wish you could keep count on anything that happened. It's pretty crazy.
It's probably at least two.
At least.
At least
Very
two.
least two.
I actually took a
about you?
page out of your book. That was your last movie, right?
That was.
I took a page out of your book this week and only watched 2 movies.
You disgust me.
Not
I
including
looked up to you.
And the first one I watched is a Canadian horror sci-fi body horror movie called The Void. Essentially, it's about like this cult that like takes over a hospital in Canada and tries to sacrifice people to gods and shit like that.
like they do.
I think that was it. It was just kind of I didn't care for it. It was dumb. You could tell they were going for more gore than a coherent plot.
Yeah.
It just didn't grab my interest. I understand this has a big following in the horror community. That's mainly because of the special effects. Special effects were great, but like I just didn't care about anything in it. So if you consider yourself a horror fan, definitely check it out. If not, you can definitely pass it.
I was say we know people out there who would probably love it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Then I watch Andrei Tarkovsky's masterpiece called Stalker, which is more toned down sci-fi movie about this place called The Zone in Russia. It's a 1979 Russian film. It's this place called The Zone where this accident happened, and now there's this thing in this accident that can grant people's deepest wishes. And it's like the journey to get there. And now that I know Andrei Tarkovsky's style is like long, drawn out shots, it was much easier to watch than Solaris. I'm gonna have to rewatch Solaris because I didn't really care for it, but like I also wasn't expecting a Tarkovsky movie because I hadn't seen a Tarkovsky movie before that.
Yeah.
But when you go in expecting long, drawn out shots, it's actually really good.
A little bit easier for yourself.
Yeah, and the set is incredible for it. They shot this movie 3 times, more or less completely, because of the first film that they made was destroyed because the lab that they had developed the negatives didn't know how to develop it, so it was all fucked up. So then they had to reshoot it. I forget why it had to be reshot a 3rd time. I think Tarkovsky.
That sucks.
Yeah, I think Tarkovsky just didn't like it, so they reshot it a 3rd time. And that's, I mean, you definitely have like parts from 2 and 1 in the film, but like they reshot a lot of it. And if you see this film, you know that's got to be hell because they're just in like the most disgusting ruins of, I believe they're in Bosnia, at Estonia, I think. One of those Soviet countries. They were in like these ruins that were just filled with water all the time. It was really gross. 3 of the main people involved of it died before they were 60 years old from like health complications, probably from being around like black mold and asbestos and shit like that. So it's not a good
it's
thing.
Insane.
Yeah.
At least it became like, I shouldn't say at least because people,
People died.
got sick and died. But
Yeah.
at least it became a masterpiece at the end of it. Really.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. If you go in, expect a slow moving, just dread of a movie. Not like it's made poorly. It's just very depressing and examines humanity and shit like that. So it's it's a rough watch, but I highly recommend it if you're up for that kind of thing. Yeah, but that's all I watched.
Okay.
I do have one bit of news, which is
I don't have anything.
Yeah, with the coronavirus shit going on, there's nothing new. However, there is a little bit of good news for fans of Tom Hardy. His film Al Capone is coming to Netflix, I think. It's going to be streaming, I know that. I don't know if it's going to be Netflix. It's possible they might do that like early release shit where you have to pay $20. But that might be the first one that I actually do for.
Okay.
Because I love Tom Hardy. Al Capone's a very interesting character. And I think he's just going to kill it.
Yeah, I've seen him in the makeup and everything. I haven't seen much about it, though.
Oh, yeah. It looks really good. If you got a chance to, I suggest checking out the trailer. But yeah, Capone is coming to streaming. That's a little bit of positive news, if there's any positive news in this time for movies. And
Well, look at that.
yeah.
Thank you, Tom Hardy, for your beautiful face
Thank
that
you,
is
Tom
covered up
Hardy.
in makeup.
So, with that being said, we should just jump right on into the review, shall we? Kung Fu Hustle, directed and written by Stephen Chow, also written by Sang Kang Chong. And I'm not going to pull a Glenn and get rid of these two people. Stand by.
But you will do what we both do, and
And
good
mess
luck
up
with the
the-
names.
Xing Huo and Man Kuang Chan are all the writers. Again, prefacing this by apologizing in advance for all the terrible pronunciations. It is starring Stephen Chow, Xiong Gang Fen, Hua Yung, Xiao Dong, and Kui Yung. Probably butcher those to Kingdom Come, but we'll see. Actually, we won't see. I don't know anyone that speaks Cantonese or Mandarin to correct me or not. But Kung Fu Hustle is about Shanghai, China in the 1940s. A wannabe gangster aspires to join the notorious Axe Gang, while residents of a housing complex exhibit extraordinary powers in defending their turf. Unlike Glenn, I did not butcher that. And this movie... This movie was released in America in 2005. It was a wide release, which for back then, for this kind of movie, is incredible.
Yeah.
You know, that it was a wide release of a foreign movie that, you know, isn't like a major Oscar runner. It was nominated for Best Film Not in the English Language in the Golden Globes, but that's about it. And when I saw this in theaters, I just lost my shit. It was so funny. And I just wanted to rewatch it. You know, I'd been seeing a lot of clips for it, and you know, seeing the landlady being compared to, you know, Marvel. What's her name? Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman, and people just saying, "Oh, those are strong women." No, they're not. Not
No,
compared
they're
to
not. Not in
Landlady.
comparison here.
Landlady is the strongest person in the world, and she will kill everyone at some point. I'm convinced of that. She's gonna turn evil and kill everyone.
Yeah, this
Not really.
is-
She's pure. She's pure and good.
This is one of those movies that I try to watch at least once a year,
Yeah.
because it was just one of those movies where my dad, like me and my dad, went to Blockbuster and we're like, "Hey, what do we feel like watching this weekend?" You know, remember those old Blockbuster days? Us millennials here. Those were good times back then. And we picked up this movie. Me and my dad really liked kung fu movies back in the day, you know? And this is sincerely one of the best ones I've ever watched with him. And so it like holds a strong memory.
Oh yeah.
Like between that and Legend of the Drunken Master, like
Yeah.
they're both, oh my God. But this, my dad, I never listened to my dad laugh so hard. I mean, myself as well, but just, you know, that man never laughs. Just a serious man.
It's incredible how much of this I remembered too. Like
yeah.
essentially every scene I remembered a shot perfectly in my head. Like, oh, this shot's gonna come like the part is gonna come up where the guy with his ass cheeks hanging out is gonna just like shake his head in a weird way while he has shampoo still on his head. And it's just like random shit like that is inconsequential for the most part. It's just such a memorable film. And like I was still laughing my ass off like I was the first day. Just the fucking ridiculous dance that the Axe Gang does in the beginning.
In the beginning.
Like
yeah.
like I think my favorite part of this entire movie, unfortunately, is in the beginning, but it's still, you know, the rest of the movie is still great. My favorite part of this film is when the main Axe Gang guy, whose name in the film is Brother Sum,
Oh yeah,
he tells this woman that she's free to go, and then shoots her in the back with a shotgun, and then just does this really goofy dance before he throws the shotgun to his to his assistant, his right hand man, and it's just it takes such such a jab at such a serious moment. Like it goes from being like, oh shit, this guy's for real, and it just makes him look
And
like
they-
a complete
everybody
fool.
just start dancing.
Yeah, they just start dancing. It's so goofy, and God, the writing in this is incredible too. Like I don't know. Do you watch with dub or subtitles?
So I usually watch with dub. I watched with sub this time. I've watched it a few times with sub. No, I mainly do now because you said there was some jokes that I like that you
Yeah.
miss in English, which
Yeah.
there actually weren't that many that you miss really.
It's more so there's one joke in it that I feel like doesn't work in the dub version.
Yeah.
It's when he quotes Uncle Ben in Spider-Man in
Yeah.
Cantonese, and then he quotes Sean Connery in The Untouchables in English, and the guy just goes, "I don't understand what you're saying." But that joke doesn't play well when both people are speaking English because it's just like it doesn't make sense that way because they still keep him saying the line in English,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. That's one of like the funniest jokes to me is this guy's dying and his last words are a Sean
great
Connery
power.
movie. What are you compelled to do? I don't understand what you're saying. It's so funny and but yeah, other than that, I did read somewhere that the scripts are like completely different, and that's mainly because they gotta like try to line up the voiceover
the
with
words.
the lips. So
So from what I remember, there wasn't that many
yeah,
from like many things that you really miss between the two, but obviously there's some subtle jokes like that.
yeah, like
that you
that's my
definitely will
favorite
miss.
joke of the entire thing. And
Yeah.
so like when I watched that in dub because I was watching it with a friend who hated subtitles, I was just like, oh, you don't know what you're missing right now. like he didn't even laugh at that part, and I was just
Yeah.
like, you are missing out because that is a fucking funny joke in subtitles. Because it makes more sense. It's not so
Oh,
much
yeah.
that it's like a different joke. It just makes more sense.
compelled to do.
Yeah, it's so funny.
There
And,
was a moment that I watched in this run that like I had never noticed before.
yeah,
So when the two assassins are like they go to the village and then
the
like
musician assassins.
yeah, and they like go, and then when the landlady like comes in and yells to stop,
Mm-hmm.
like you'll see them both like look. And I never noticed before that the blind one looks completely the opposite direction of where
Oh,
she
but
is.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I never even looked for that. Now
So,
I'm
like,
gonna have to rewatch it.
Yeah, so you watch the one who obviously has his sight like
Yeah.
look directly at her, but then the other one's just like what, and then looks the completely opposite direction from where she is.
That's fucking hilarious.
There's like small moments like that that really make this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good detail in this. And like I think the best way to sum this up is I think it was a Roger Ebert quote where it said it's like Kill Bill and Looney Tunes combined.
It really that
And that
pretty
kind of
much,
nails it
yeah.
because it's like the violence and the ridiculousness of Kill Bill combined with the absolute cartoonishness, including like the ridiculous run where like you don't see their legs; it just looks like their legs are going in wheels, and that's just the best way to put it. It is very Looney Tune-ish, and it's so funny. Like
it's so perfect for it for the way it takes
Stephen
it.
Chow is the main character who's trying to be tough but isn't. That scene where he's trying to find someone to fight and keeps coming up with excuses, I still laugh at that. I know exactly what's going to happen, but it's
Hey, you
just
shorty,
done.
come here, and then he
Yeah, it's
ends
done
up being like
so
10
well.
feet tall. He's like, "Hey, I thought we weren't cheating. Come on."
Yeah, you should. Then he picks the old man who's buff, and then he picks a kid who's buff, and it's just so no one
So
wants
none of
to
you want to
fight.
fight, huh?
It's just it's such a great film, and
I could have sworn, like I went back and checked. I could have sworn I did this for a Glenn's Day, but apparently I didn't. I'm kind of glad that I didn't because now we get to actually like sit down and talk.
oh
about
yeah,
it.
I might have at some point. I don't remember for a my recommendation Mondays,
Doesn't matter.
but
That's the past. We're in the future.
yeah, we're in the future, and I just really wanted to rewatch this movie.
Yeah, this movie it's so good. It mixes up like comedy so well with like the craziness of like what you would see in like kung fu movies.
Oh yeah,
Like takes it to the top.
definitely, and
Like,
and
doesn't go too far with it. Like it's just at this perfect pace.
oh yeah, and it creates the world which is believable. Like the fact that Looney Tune shit happens in this world is not
Mm-hmm.
just like it doesn't take you out of it. It's just like that's what this
how it
world
is.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when he throws the firecracker over the fence and it scares him, but he still tries to act tough, and he's just like, just remember what happens next time. but shit, what was it? Oh, the movie references too. There's so many movie
There's
references.
so
in this.
many movie references.
And honestly, that's something that I probably didn't quite get back in 2005 when I first watched it, because there's a lot of movies in there that I didn't watch until later on, and it's
Now, see, this movie did it well. Like, this movie, like, put in movie references well. And, like, so I just watched Six Underground, and I don't want to bring back to that, but they like, do a bunch of scenes in the movie where they, like, forcibly just quote a bunch of movies, and they're like, we're done doing movie quotes, and then they keep doing movie quotes instead of, like, coming up with their own
I
lines.
fucking hate that shit. Like, make it part of the world. Don't mention the movie if you're gonna do movie quotes. Like,
It was pretty bad. Like,
Yeah.
it ran throughout the whole movie where they're all just doing movie quotes.
it's
for no reason.
it's either a joke that someone gets or doesn't. Like, the best I can kind of bring an example of this is in Muppets Most Wanted. In Muppets Most Wanted, it takes place right after the Muppets, where everyone is successful and they're trying to figure out what to do for their sequel. Mm-hmm. And the Swedish chef goes Flurgenbergen, Jurgen Durgen, and it's black and white, him playing chess with Death on a Beach, which is from Ingmar Bergman's The Seventh Seal. Ingmar Bergman is a Swedish director, so of course Swedish Chef is gonna fucking reference the Swedish masterpiece that is The Seventh Seal. It was a sold out auditorium, and I was the only one that laughed. And that is what a movie reference should be. Like, if only one person has seen that movie, only one person laughs. It's supposed to be an inside joke, not like this is from that movie, that is from this movie. If they recognize it but don't remember the movie, let them try to figure out what movie it's from. Like, that's part of the fun.
Yeah, at one point, even Ryan Reynolds just they're like interrogating a guy. He's like, if you had one shot, one opportunity, and like just did this whole Eminem, like that Eminem line.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, stop, please.
Yeah. Ryan Reynolds is better than that.
Oh, he's completely better than that.
Yeah.
So you could tell it was forced. He's just like, would you seize everything you ever wanted, or just slip, or whatever the fuck the lyrics are. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was forced. This movie did fantastic with it.
Absolutely. Like the when they're going to let the beast out and he looks down the hallway and it just turns into like The Shining with the blood coming out past the door. It's just shit like that. Like, they don't bring that up ever again. They don't even acknowledge it.
And then he picks the lock. All he does is like bend the paperclip in half, and then just like picks this huge locked door with all these locks, just unlocks it with that.
Oh yeah.
Just
yeah.
like think.
Just it's funny little details like that. Have you seen of Stephen Chow's other films?
No, I just saw that he was basically like 40 years old when he was in this movie. He looks so much younger than that.
Yeah, he's in better shape than definitely me and probably you. Like, just
for sure.
Like, he's just in incredibly good shape. He's an ageless wonder at this point.
Like, I just worked out for the first time today in probably almost 2 years.
His most famous movie is probably Shaolin. Famous in America. Where like China is a different story because he's huge in China. But Shaolin Soccer, I'm sure you've at least heard of.
Yeah, that's one that I've been meaning to watch too. Because I could tell there's a lot of similarities between the two.
I rented it after watching this, and I don't remember liking it as much, but I think I want to revisit it now that I've kind of have the separation between them.
Yeah.
I've seen two of his other movies. The first one is the Journey to the West, which is based off of I think it's like a Chinese folktale. I forget exactly what it is. There's an American movie based off that's terrible because it's whitewashing everything.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a movie with Jackie Chan who was in it, and then it's an American movie with Jackie Chan and Jet Li.
It's not the Drunken Masters, because
Forbidden Kingdom.
There we go.
So it's the Legend of the Forbidden Kingdom, but done in like a similar style to Kung Fu Hustle. That's Journey to the West. And then he had another movie come out called The Mermaid, and it was like the #1 grossing movie of what year was that?
It's amazing, like his span of like how long he's gone since he made movies.
Oh yeah, 2013. It was like the number one gross movie of 2013, and I watched it, and it's pretty funny. Like, it's not Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah.
Level, but there's still really good parts. Like, there's this one part where this half man, half octopus is pretending to be a like a hibachi chef and accidentally cuts off his tentacles, and it's just again like it's just stupid shit like that, and it's really funny, and I'm glad to see that he's still kind of sticking to that style.
Yeah, definitely want to check some more stuff out because this movie is honestly it's pretty much perfect in my opinion. Like it's always going to be a movie that I go back. Like I try not to rewatch movies, but it's definitely one of the top ones that I will always go back to. Like that with The Thing, The Departed a little bit is one of the movies we'll always go back to.
Definitely.
Warrior's another one for me, but like this one's always I always try to make it like a yearly thing to try to rewatch it.
Yeah, I got to start doing that because it's been far too long. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that we can move on to the judgment.
Absolutely.
I'm not even gonna, drag this out at all. It's a no for me.
Yeah,
just kidding.
Hell no for me.
Just kidding. It's a hell yes. Can I get a hell yeah?
Can we? It's an opposite day here. Yeah, this is an absolute yes, no matter what.
Absolute shelf boy. So the Kung of Fu Hustle. Kung Fu Hustle is a shelf boy. Jesus, I can't talk today. And yeah, so that brings us to plugs for next week. I will go first as it is my week. I really tried hard to find something that wasn't a TV show because I've done TV shows for the past like 3 or 4 weeks or something. I've just been finding a lot of good TV shows that I feel like not enough people are talking about. This one is a Zach Galifianakis show called Baskets. It is on Hulu, all 4 seasons of it. And
Holy crap.
It is about a
Did you watch all 4 seasons just like this last week?
I'm in season 4 right now, but it's at
I was
the
like,
point
Ozark
where
was a stretch, but whoa.
it's only 10 episodes a season and it's 30
Okay.
minutes an episode, but it's still just I'm still in season 4, but it's past the point where like I know it's a good show. So Zach Galifianakis plays Chip Baskets and Dale Baskets. He plays twin brothers. Chip Baskets is a failing French clown who looks to keep his dream of becoming a professional clown alive.
Will you marry me?
You must understand, I don't love you.
Maybe you could learn to love me, like when you hear those nice stories about arranged marriages or Stockholm Syndrome.
Being a clown is the most important thing in the world to me.
You look like a clown, but you are not a clown.
I am a clown!
His mother is played by Louis Anderson, in a remarkable role, honestly. Like, you think it'd just be goofy, but it's like, you believe him as a mom. It's
Interesting.
It's that great. But that's on Hulu. That's Baskets, and it is great. So check it out.
All right. For me, it's going to be a making of The Oner from the movie Extraction on
On the
Netflix.
set of our movie for Netflix, and it's action-packed.
This is the location where we start The Oner,
which is a series of long shots that we join together seamlessly to form a single continuous shot.
Begins in a car chase, and ends up on the street. And there's knife fights, gunfights. It's good fun.
And you can just find that on YouTube. It's just right there. Yeah, it's pretty much the movie Extraction, like I said before, it's actually a really good movie, and they do this action sequence in like the beginning of the movie, almost right before the second act, that is just this one really long scene where it's just full on action. This guy is like on the hood of a car. The director himself is on the hood of a car filming this whole scene, and like he's jumping into another car and everything like that. And it's really sick though. And the shot itself in the movie is insane if you're just sitting there and watching it.
That's awesome.
And like it since it's a one shot, it can't be like a stunt double. It's got to be Chris Hemsworth and like a bunch of the other actors. So like everything about that whole scene and the movie itself is really good, really well done in my opinion. And like that scene alone, just like kind of I was like, yeah, okay, it sets the tone for the whole movie. It's
Nice.
good.
So that is Baskets on Hulu and Making of the Oner from Extraction, which you can find on YouTube. Those are our plugs for this week. That brings us to whatever our assignment is for next week, which Glenjamin Button, it is your honor this week.
It is my turn.
What are we watching for next week's episode?
Listen, there's not enough ever Sam Rockwell in this. So
I confer.
So we're going to do that. We're going to watch some more Sam Rockwell. But this time, we got a little bonus this week. We're going to have Anna Kendrick in it as well.
Ooh.
So I saw on Netflix, there's this movie with both of those, obviously, called Mr. Right that came out in 2015. It's rated R. It's action, comedy, romance. It's got the whole shebang. And I say that while Sam Rockwell's holding two magnums in my face on this screen.
Hi. Hey. Supposed to be in Milwaukee killing your husband.
So why are you here?
Murder's wrong, Sharon.
But you're a hitman.
Nobody's perfect.
Was I cheating on you? Maybe.
I don't know how this keeps happening. Do I just suck? No! Am I just like, suckball, McGee? You're just a work in progress, babe. Oh. How'd you do that?
It's a lot of condoms.
It's got the whole shebang. So, a girl falls for the perfect guy who happens to have a very fatal flaw. He's a hitman on the run from the crime cartels who employ him. Damn, I didn't mess that shit up at all, boy. It's directed by
nice.
Paco Cabezas, written by Max Landis. Obviously, it stars Anna Kendrick, Sam Rockwell, Tim Roth, James Ransone, and RZA's in there too. It should be hopefully good for us. Hopefully.
Yeah. And where can we watch that again?
That is on Strictly What I Saw is Netflix.
Netflix. So, Mr. Right on Netflix is our assignment for next week. Thank you, everybody, for listening. As always, you can follow us at our website, www.KeystoneFilmReview.com, on Instagram, Keystone_Film_Review, Facebook, we are Keystone Film Review, Twitter, Keystone_Film. I messed up. And then on Letterboxd, I am Mike KFR.
And I am Glenn KFR.
And that will do it until we talk about some Sam Rockwell and Anna Kendricks.
And their whole shebangs.
Hopefully a lot of shebangs. I like both of them, so bye.
Goodbye.